Okay, guys. So, Doug Rucker here, by the way, DougRuckerStore.com, DougRuckerSchool.com, and just wanted to come on and do a video for basically kind of like spare parts that you need to always have available on your truck or on your trailer, whichever you prefer. But these are just some basic spare parts. I'm going to do kind of a series over the next few weeks on these. I'll cover, pressure washer, soft washer, our Kingslinger air diaphragm soft wash system, the Softy 12-volt Softy system, pressure washers. We'll do one on pressure washers. Just a myriad of different things that I just think you need to have spare parts on that I always consider. So let's get right into it. The first thing, of course, is you always have to have spare quick connect fittings. Okay, you got to have quick connects. These are male pipe thread, and then these are female pipe thread. So male, female. Okay, so you need to have spare quick connects, at least 2 of each one. I actually recommend having at least 6 because you just never know, when these things are going to go bad. Um, so if you only have 2, then you use one. Now you're down to 1, and you got to order, another backup or whatever. So I always suggest 4 to 6 at least that you keep of these spare fittings, because, like I said, they're just going to wear out. The bleach is going to go through them. I don't care if they're stainless steel. On a lot of mine, I use actually brass because they're a little bit cheaper, and I found they hold up just as long as the stainless steel these days. So always have plenty of these. Remember, you have 2 different sizes. You've got 3/8, and then you've got 1/4 inch. Okay, I was looking for the male in this, but just to show you, this is a 3/8 male fitting. That's a 1/4 inch male fitting. Okay, quick connect. So coupler, whatever you want to call it. So everything from, just remember that everything from your gun down and back to the machine is always going to be 3/8. Okay, whether you're using the coupler here or you're using the plug, doesn't matter. Everything from here back to your machine is going to be a 3/8 fitting. Everything from the top of the gun is going to be a 1/4 inch fitting. Okay, so whether it's a quick connect here, or you're attaching a wand or a Mossmatic swivel, everything from here forward is 1/4 inch. Everything from here back is 3/8. So you always want to have a good supply of quick connect fittings and plug fittings, because they do go bad. The O-rings in them go bad. So you also want to have 3/8 this size and 1/4 inch O-rings as well. Okay, so when you have these fittings, there's a little O-ring down inside here, and you would use a dental pick set in order to take that out. And I've got videos on how to replace these. I'm not going to go over that now, but you would dig this one out when they get bad and replace it. Okay, whether it's the 3/8 fitting or 1/4 inch fittings. Okay, male or female. So those are the 2 things that you need the 3/8 and the 1/4 inch O-rings for. They do also make them in 1/2 inch, but we don't really sell 1/2 inch fittings, simply because we never get calls for them. So fittings, O-rings, dental pick set. Some guys will use these type. You can get a set of these at Home Depot if you wanted to, or I think these actually came from Harbor Freight, a little pick set. These are good to have too, but I don't really like these for changing the O-rings. Sometimes they're harder to get in there, and they just don't work as well for me as a dental pick set. I find I use a dental pick set more for replacing O-rings. And also there's other things that you can use them for as well. So that's the O-rings, the dental picks. The other thing that you need to keep on hand are extra surface cleaner nozzles. Okay, these are very small, and so they can get clogged up easy. So the easiest thing to do is when that happens is just have spares and replace the nozzle in the field. Don't sit there and try to clean it out. That just takes time. What we always do is we'll have a little Ziploc bag, and any of them that are clogged go into a Ziploc bag, and it says clogged on it. And so once a week or once every 2 weeks, because we keep 6 or 8 of each size of these on hand, we'll go through and use what's called a welder's tip tool, which is like this. Okay, you can get this at Home Depot, Lowe's, welder supply shop, but these are great to remove any type of little grit that gets in there. You can see we use this one right here mostly, okay, because it's bent, but they'll fit right in there. You got to kind of hold it down close to the edge of the nozzle to get it in there, but they'll work great. That's the best thing I've ever found to use for cleaning out nozzles that get a piece of sand or a little piece of grit in it and clog it up. So always have surface cleaner nozzles on hand. And the other thing you want to make sure you're doing with surface cleaner nozzles is not only the size that you're using for your machine on a daily basis, you want to have some 2 or 3 sizes above in case you run across softer pool decks, softer concrete, any type of surface that would require less pressure and more water flow. There is a chart that you can refer to. You got to kind of learn how to read it. I'll go over that one day, but you want to make sure that these are rated for the proper PSI that's going to come out of your nozzles based on the gallon per minute of the machine that you're using. Okay, so you want to always make sure you have plenty of surface cleaner nozzles because they will get clogged up. And like I said, don't do the service repair in the field. Always kind of on maintenance day go through and unclog them, and they're still good. The other thing you have to remember about these nozzles is whether they're high pressure nozzles or surface cleaner nozzles, when the water is spraying out of these and it's putting pressure, it'll widen these holes a little bit. So you'll start getting uneven spray. It'll start using more water. So these are good to replace whether they're still spraying or not on a regular basis, depending on how much you're using them. All right, what's next? High pressure nozzles. If you've got the green nozzles, yellow nozzles, white nozzles, we sell these in a package, or you can buy them individually. Like for instance, I only use the green and the yellow, so I buy them individually. I don't need this whole package because we use a J-rod with the other nozzles on them that we use quite frequently. But these, I mainly use the green and the yellow only on our adjustable wand. So you always want to have spare nozzles of these. And the same thing goes for these, that they'll start widening out with the pressure as well. So you always want to make sure you have a good supply of these and rotate them out so that they're not using more water or lessening the pressure, all of that kind of stuff. Next thing you got to make sure you have is J-rod nozzles. You want to have spares of these. This is a J-rod nozzle kit for an 8 gallon per minute. Due to the fact that these two are wider holes, the pressure is not going to widen these as fast as these two. Okay, this is like the red tip. We rarely use it, but we do use it occasionally. Just depends on what we're using it for. But it doesn't have near the amount of use as these 3 nozzles. This one is going to be more apt to spread out a little bit more from the pressure over time. So that's the low rinse nozzle. But you want to have extra J-rod nozzles, and or you may just want to have a whole nother kit because you just never know when you're going to leave this behind or you lose it somewhere. You set it on the trailer, take off down the road, been there, done that, and you lose it. So you want to make sure you have another one so when you get to the next job, you're good to go. So you don't want to be down and let this prevent you from completing a job properly. So J-rod nozzles and a J-rod kit is another great thing to have. All right, guys. Starting in January will be our 12th year, my 12th year of doing the pressure washing school hands-on training right here in Houston, Texas. The new year starts January 8th. But before that, we have our last hands-on training for 2023 in December 4th and 5th. So we go over at these hands-on training schools. I teach you how to pressure wash, how to soft wash, how to clean a roof. Teach you property protection, concrete cleaning, house washing, all of that, and stuff that entails that. So December 4th and 5th is the next hands-on training here in Houston. And then again, January 8th, we start our 12th year of doing this hands-on training. So the other thing coming up February 22nd and 24th, February 22nd through the 24th, is we're going to Cocoa Beach, Florida area. We're going to actually be in Cocoa, Florida. Jeffrey Blackman and myself. And so we're going to be teaching hands-on training for roof cleaning, pressure washing, soft washing, actually be cleaning a building there, a church. And then Jeffrey is going to teach his parking lot striping course. And then we're also going to do a one-day difference makers conference that will cover business aspects for your business, not necessarily cleaning, but we'll go over commercial sales, how to build residual income, money matters, just all kinds of stuff. I'll talk about selling mansions, bigger houses, go over some residential selling techniques, things of that nature. Mind mapping your business, all of that kind of stuff. So it's more like a business conference versus actually cleaning. But we'll have the hands-on training, we'll have the pressure washing, striping course, and the difference makers course, February 22nd through 24th in Cocoa, Florida. For any of those events, just go to pressurewashingschool.com/events, and you can see the schedule there. You can get the pricing for everything, and talk a little bit about what's going to go on at each event. And then also, don't forget the online video school. We've had several signing up for that. Of course, every month we have people signing up for it, but that is an awesome tool to have if you can't you can't travel to my trainings. That's a great way to learn and start your business right from your home. I've had that for about 10 years. It's got over 250, 270 videos on it, adding new stuff all the time. In fact, I added 7 videos yesterday to it. So, yeah, and once you pay for it, it's a lifetime membership. You don't have to pay, once a month or once a year or whatever. It's there for you. It's a lifetime membership. Just log in, watch the videos at your leisure. So don't forget all of that, and hope you guys can make one of those soon. I'd love to have you. Love to be able to work with you and help you grow your business. Okay, so the next couple of things that you want to make sure that you have, guys, are Teflon tape, hose clamps, electrical tape. You need to make sure you have some lock seal, and then also a pressure test gauge to test the pressure on your machine. So the Teflon tape, you're going to use definitely for putting attaching your fittings to guns, wands, hose reels, whatever you're going to use them for. A little True Blue on top of the Teflon tape, and then fasten them up real good. Just a couple of turns of the Teflon tape. You don't got to go crazy. I usually do about 1 or 2 turns. It's really just to kind of help seal it up. And then that's the same thing that the True Blue. You don't need a whole lot on it, just a nice little bead. I usually do a nice little bead around about half of it, because as I turn it into it, I know it's going to get all the way around. So Teflon tape is very important to have on hand, as well as the lock seal. And then you also want to have hose clamps. And my experience has been I want to buy the same hose clamps over and over again, because sometimes these screws that you use to tighten them up can be different fittings from different manufacturers. They can be different. Well, here's one right here. So, well, no, it's not. They're the same. So what I get from either Lowe's or Home Depot is this Ideal Triton, whatever, buy them in tubs. And so I always know that the 5/16 and the 1/4 inch nut driver that we use is always going to fit these. We've had some before that the heads are a little bit different on these. And so um, that's why I always buy the same ones over and over. And then you always want to have some electrical tape just to tape up electrical things or wiring or whatever, to keep those nice and tight. And uh, uh, got the word for it now. The little wire nuts that you put on there, man. And then the last thing in this segment is a pressure gauge. This is always good to have on board. We don't keep it on the machine at all times, but we do use it to test the pressure that's coming out of nozzles, test the unloader, all of that kind of stuff. Having one of these can really help you determine if you're having issues. It can help you determine if you're going to have a future issue. If you're losing pressure, then you need to figure out why you're doing that. Okay, guys, the next things that you want to make sure that you have, especially if you're a big time downstreamer like me, is you want to make sure you have plenty of these strainers on hand. These go at the end of your 1/4 inch hose on your downstream injector, and that kind of helps strain out, keep out any large sand or dirt, stuff like that. So you want to make sure you have plenty of these, because there's a little piece of metal in here, by the way. It's a little check valve and weight or whatever. But that end right there, the bleach is going to eat that off. It's going to fall out. The little metal piece is going to fall out. So you want to make sure you have plenty of these. We keep about 6 of them on the trucks at all times. And so have plenty of strainers. The next thing that you want to make sure you have is downstream injectors. And we keep them in the truck all set up like this, ready to go. If you don't want to do that, then you just need to make sure you have at least a couple of these downstream injectors on hand, so that when needed, you can put your fittings on them and put them to work, because these will go bad eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So you want to have plenty of downstream injector. And again, we always keep a couple of these set up in the truck ready to go. And if you're using a bypass injector like we build, this is the downstream bypass injector. If these go bad, then you can easily just take this off and you can put another one on, and you're back in business, ready to go that quick, no downtime. So you really want to try to make sure that you're not keeping these on your truck in this form, although you can do that. Keep them in your truck with the ends on them. That'll help and save you a lot of time. So bypass injectors, I mean, that's really the only thing you really got to have a backup for, is these downstream injectors, because you really already have your fittings that we talked about earlier. So that keeps you in business that way. Downtime, man, it just costs a lot of money. So you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you can do to prevent downtime. That's why I said earlier, like, don't try to clean out your nozzle. Just replace it, and then take care of cleaning those out on your next maintenance day or whatever you're going to do. The next thing is, if you're using these check valves for downstream injectors, these are the ones that go on the general pump. We sell these set up, or you can buy this separately by itself. But it has a little check valve repair kit that has the spring and the O-ring in it. So you want to make sure that you have a couple of these in case this goes bad. Again, we keep a spare like this on hand in the truck in case ours does go bad, and they will the spring in there will go bad, the O-ring in there will go bad. So again, if it happens on a job, we're able to just take the one off and put it in. But this will split. Put this on a vise, take these off, and use this repair kit to repair them. So you'll make sure you have it. Just a couple. You really only need a couple of these. I mean, I've had guys that buy 6 or 7 at a time, but they'll last a pretty long time. But you know, as we know in this business, anything with bleach going through it is eventually going to fail. Okay, guys, the last few things I've been trying to kind of not necessarily rush through this, but didn't want to make this too long because I know sometimes we lose people after a few minutes of videos. But um, the next things that you want to make sure that you have on hand are a pressure gun. Just want to make sure you have a spare. Just remember, guys, a lot of these parts are things that, you know, sometimes get left on the trailer, on the wheel well, or they don't get secured properly, and they'll fall out of the trailer, off the trailer. They get left behind. So this is something you definitely want to have a spare, and you may consider even having it already put together. You may consider having an extra downstream pressure wash gun assembly that we sell. But anyway, at the very least, you want to at least have a gun. And then we also have repair kits for these guns that you can easily repair these guns. So you may want to consider having a repair kit. So when this fails, the internals fail and they start leaking, that you can easily repair it. Or you can be like me and just buy another one. That's what I normally do. But you definitely want to have a gun, spare gun on hand. And then the last things are you want to have a spare ball valve. And then you may even want to consider having a whole ball valve setup ready to go, simply because you just never know what's going to happen. You can drop it, you can break it. Again, they can get left on the wheel wells of the trailer, the back end of the truck, whatever, left at a house. So you just always want to have a backup. The ball valves will eventually fail themselves. I've opened them up before, tried to repair them, tightening the nut down or whatever, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So you definitely want to consider having a spare ball valve. At the very minimum, just the ball valve, but you might want to consider the whole ball valve setup. And then if you don't have the whole ball valve setup, then since you've already got spare fittings, what you can do is just order an extra 3/8 swivel if you need to, a couple of those, and then we also have them in the 1/4 inch for like the pressure wash gun assembly. Then you can just build yourself another one with your spare, and then order replacement parts next time you place an order. So that's some basic stuff from the beginning. Again, I'm gonna get into this with more items, like for a pressure washer, just all kinds of stuff that I want you guys to be aware of that you need to keep on hand. But again, this is not everything. Okay, I know some of you are going to say you left out this, you left out that. That's fine. But I just want to try to cover some basic stuff, things that I know will save you time if you have spares on hand. All right, guys, hope that's been helpful for you. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments below. Shoot me an email at info@DougRuckerStore.com, and I'll be glad to help you answer any questions that you may have, or you can call us 281-612-1223. Thanks so much for watching, and y'all have a very blessed day.